Good morning, guys. What's going on? You're back here with another episode of Dugout Talk. As always, it's Steven and Cam with you guys here. We got a team to discuss, but in a second, we're going to start off with a little baseball history for you today. Steven, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so in 1965, Braves officials who already intend to move to Atlanta, Georgia for 1966 proposed to pay 5 cents from each ticket sold to a fund for the purpose of bringing a new major league team to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Teams Inc., a civic group, accepts the offer, buys out the park for opening day, and stages Stand Up for Milwaukee Day.
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. So a big reason the Brewers have a team is in part because of that. It took them 12 years. It wasn't until 1978, I believe, or 1977.
Wow.
Because if you
Yeah.
remember, the Seattle Pilots
Yep.
were forced out, and so. But I thought that was cool. It was a nice little offer for the Braves. I guess Milwaukee fans can always thank the city of Atlanta for helping them out there.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I had no idea that they actually helped bring a team back to the city they just left.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Well, today in 2001, those of you who listen and now watch from Pennsylvania will remember this day quite well. Out there in Pittsburgh, PA, they imploded Three Rivers Stadium today in 2001. The stadium had played host to the Pirates and Steelers for decades and decades. Um, the Pirates never really saw leagues of success. They had some success in the 70s and 80s. And then that kind of last gasp there in the 90s, the Barry Bonds era. But Steelers fans will remember it quite well. You know, that was the stadium they played in most of the 70s, all the way up until '01 when it imploded. Um, for their Super Bowls, they played primarily playing there. And they called that home for decades. So yeah, today was it now 30 years ago, or sorry, 20 years ago, my bad. Three River Stadium imploded.
So because it shared an NFL stadium, you know how like the old Marlins Park where they shared with the Dolphins,
Mm-hmm.
how that just was not. I don't know. The dimensions were just super weird on it. Was Three Rivers the same way? I don't really know if I've seen a
Off
layout of the ballpark off the top of my head.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I'm not entirely sure. I know it wasn't anything super duper wacky. I want to say the dimensions for baseball were fairly conventional.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't think it was anything. It wasn't anything crazy enough that you remember it off the top of your head.
that makes
Um,
sense.
but yeah, the Pirates moved into PNC Park and the Steelers moved into Heinz Field. And they've been there since. And they're actually two of the better stadiums. I've been to PNC Park a couple occasions. It's beautiful every time. You got the big Pittsburgh skyline out there in right field. So
Yeah,
it's always a gem to go to.
I seriously want to go to PNC someday. That is definitely on my bucket list. Granted, I want to go to all the ballparks, but PNC
Yeah.
probably on the top.
Hey, I'm only like 4 hours away from every like East Coast team that there is. Like I'm smack dab in the middle of PA, so I'm only a 4 hour ride from everywhere. But yeah, yeah, there you go. There's a little baseball history for you guys. We do have a team to cover today. Um, that team was the second place finisher in the AL Central last season. It's the Cleveland Indians. Um, not going to be a video that a lot of Indians fans are probably going to be looking forward to. This will be your first year without Carlos Carrasco. This will be your first year without Francisco Lindor. Literally the face of the franchise. Um, you also lost Brad Hand. He went to Washington to get a closer's job. Um, you lost Carlos Santana. He went and signed a deal with division rival Royals.
The newly
So
revamped Royals.
newly revamped. You guys are welcome. You owe us. You owe us. We got you guys Benintendi. um, but yeah, and you look at some of their off-season additions, Eddie Rosario is definitely going to be a good pickup for them. They were able to bring back Cesar Hernandez on a contract. Even a couple of the guys that they got a couple infielders. One of them, namely Ahmed Rosario, the big name guy from the Mets in that trade. And you know, they're getting young. That's really all the more I can say. They're kind of retooling, rebuilding, whatever you want to call it. This is kind of like their big first step towards doing that. Um, what are your thoughts kind of been on how their offseason has gone to this point?
Yeah, so it's pretty clear that the Indians' glory days of winning and being in the postseason consistently are done. Unless if this group can turn things around.
Yeah.
The Indians, I feel like, have been a team over the last decade, especially. You can never rule them out. They've had one losing season since 2011. I'm sorry, they've had two losing seasons since 2011. Haven't had a losing season since 2013. And Terry Francona, I think, has a lot to do with that. Now, granted, Tito has not been in the dugout nearly as much over the last few years. In fact, he's only with the team for 11 games last season because he was dealing with some health issues. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how much more in the tank there is for Tito. I do hope that he gets better with his health, but at the same time, health comes first. And if it becomes a Ron Gardenhire situation, I hope that he is able to make that choice and step away if he needs to. But the thing with the Indians is, even though there are other teams within the division that are on paper are a lot better than them, they're kind of that scrappy team that it seems like they always put a competitor out there, no matter who they have. And I think even on paper, at least looking at the lineup, it really doesn't look that bad. It looks like a lineup that can produce consistently. They may not blow you away every night, but they can at least give you your money's worth for a pitching staff. I think adding Eddie Rosario was surprising, but I think it was needed. And with a lot of these one-year contracts that are being handed out like candy this year, to me, Rosario could be a trade piece later on if they want to retool the minor league system. And then bringing back Cesar Hernandez to play second base, that's not a bad option either. He's got a pretty decent glove over there in the middle infield. He's got a pretty decent bat. He's a good leadoff guy to have up there. They still have Jose Ramirez. I know there were rumors that he was going to get traded, but they still have him, and it looks like they're going to have him at least to opening day. I would imagine probably by July he may not be with the team, but he's still there. So right now he's the face of that lineup. And then even acquiring Ahmed Rosario, I don't think that's such a bad pickup either for them. I know he's not Francisco Lindor. And I know there've even been some rumors swirling that they may trade Rosario before he even puts on the uniform. But even then, he's not a bad addition. They've made some decent acquisitions considering what they've lost this offseason. And I think in the end, they're still going to be kind of that scrappy team that they're not going to go away easily. I don't want to expect them to be competitive all year long, but I think they will be a club that kind of just makes you kind of nitpicky about just everything in general when you play them. They're not a team that you can just throw out and say, oh, they're an easy team to beat. Now and even outside of Terry Francona, they've got a heck of a coaching staff. They're just really good at developing coaches for whatever reason it feels like. So I like what they've done. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily excited, but I think what they're doing at least pertains to them trying to be prepared for the future. And also, this is the last name of the Indians franchise name. This is the last season for that. So, and we're going to put a poll out on Twitter later and Facebook, getting with some name ideas about what we might want to see.
Yeah. It figures to be an interesting year. As you touched on, Eddie Rosario figures to be maybe a really sneaky addition for this club. He's played his whole career in the spacious Chase Field up there in Minnesota.
Target Field.
Target Field, yeah. Oh, I said Chase, didn't I?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
I was gonna say I'm like yeah, that sounds right. No, but yeah, Target Field. He spent his whole career up there to this point. Now he's gonna play in a much more hitter friendly ballpark down there in Cleveland. And more importantly, he is still going to get to play some games up there in Target Field this time as a visitor. But like I said, this could be a really really sneaky move. I know he's still a guy that can hit. I mean, he could hit 30 home runs for them this year. He could hit over 30 home runs for them this year. The possibilities are pretty endless for him. And with that, I'll go ahead and jump over to kind of how I stack my lineup up for them. Um, I do like the center fielder Oscar Mercado to be the leadoff guy for them. He's got just a super glove, nonstop highlight reel out there in center field. I got the third baseman Jose Ramirez, now officially the cornerstone player for that club. He's going to be manning third base. I do have Eddie Rosario slotted at number 3. He's going to get plenty of RBI opportunities. Right behind him is the big bopper, the DH, Emmanuel Reyes. He figures to hit a bunch, just a truckload of home runs out there. I have Josh Naylor, the first baseman, batting 5th. I got Roberto Perez, the catcher, hitting 6th. Hitting 7th, I have the shortstop, Ahmed Rosario. Hitting 8th, I have Cesar Hernandez out there at second base. And then I got the right fielder, Daniel Johnson, hitting 9th.
Yeah, I think this is actually the first time our lineups are extremely different.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, and I was looking at Fangraphs too and kind of just trying to construct the lineup. Yeah. I think this has by far been the hardest lineup to put together. Just to get a projection, because this team really could do just about anything with what they've got. There's no like traditional spot for these guys in the lineup. So for me, I got the second baseman Cesar Hernandez leading off. I know he can hit bottom of the order, but I think he'd be a sneaky good top of the order guy too.
Sure.
Jose Ramirez at third base, I do have him hitting second. The official face of the franchise now. I have Emmanuel Reyes, the DH, hitting third. And it's just because, to me, the 3 spot is always a traditional power spot. And Franmil is by far the most powerful guy on that lineup. I know Jose Ramirez can put up 30 homers too, but Franmil he's a truck. He's a right-handed David Ortiz, pretty much. So I've got him hitting third. Eddie Rosario in left field, I got him hitting cleanup. Josh Naylor, the first baseman, I got him hitting 5th. I have Jordan Luplow in right field hitting 6th. I think he will be the opening day right fielder over Daniel Johnson. Johnson is one of the top prospects in the Indian system right now, and I'm not entirely sure if he's going to be ready for opening day. So I think spring training is just going to play a big role into what his status will be. I have Roberto Perez, the catcher, hitting 7th. I have Andres Jimenez, who they also got in that Francisco Lindor trade. I got him being the opening day shortstop. And bold prediction of the week, Ahmed Rosario in center field will be batting 9th.
Wow.
And Fangraphs does project him to get some center field time this year. So I think if he's still on the team come opening day, I think Jimenez will be the shortstop and Rosario will be used in center field. Just a bold prediction out there. I don't know. You gotta be bold sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta be bold.
Yeah, gotta stick to it,
Interesting. Yeah, I've liked a lot of what I've seen out of Daniel Johnson, looking up his minor league numbers and looking up kind of his skill set. I think he might be ready to nail down an opening day job. I know it's a possibility that he might get some more seasoning in AAA, or might ride the pine on the bench. But yeah, I think it's definitely a toss up for these guys. And that is a very bold projection there.
Johnson doesn't seem too far behind though.
No,
I think
that's
he
why
will
I gave him the nod.
I think he could at least be on the opening day roster. I'm just kind of thinking more he might start on the bench and then have to work his way into the starting lineup maybe.
Sure.
So
he does provide good depth.
Yeah, he does.
Looking at their rotation, how that figures to potentially look, the new face of that pitching staff, and arguably, right up there with Jose Ramirez in terms of, face of the franchise, with Bieber. Shane Bieber
Yeah.
figures to be one of the premier pitchers in baseball again this season. He put up just stupid numbers the past couple seasons, and he figures to do it again. So there's really no question there. I do like Zach Plesac being the number 2 guy. I know that he was one of those. I think it was, yeah, he was one of the guys who really kind of blew up the team last season. I know that he went out partying without masks, broke protocol, and I believe he was one that tried to kind of lie and shrug it off. But this year's a new year. I think they're going to give him a new opportunity. He paid his dues. He missed out on a lot of starts last season. So I do like him as the number 2. I do like the tall, young, lanky Tristan McKenzie to be the number 3 starter for them. The dude's like Chris Sale, like he's built like Chris Sale, just super tall, super thin, and he can blow balls. He can blow bitches right by you. Right behind him in the number 4 spot, I have Aaron Savali, and then I got Logan Allen, the younger guy, rounding out my rotation.
Yeah, my rotation looks similar to yours. I think the Indians are going to do a 6-man rotation this year,
Okay.
considering all the youngsters they have. Because outside of Shane Bieber, pretty much all these guys have 2 years or less experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think Shane Bieber is going to be the opening day guy. He's going to be the ace of the rotation this year. Zach Plesac, I also have him as the number 2. Aaron Savali, I've got him in the 3 spot, and then Tristan McKenzie as the number 4 starter. I was actually looking at Logan Allen, and I do have him in the rotation, but the thing about Logan Allen is he's actually, at least according to the prospect pipeline on MLB Network or on MLB.com, he's only in rookie ball. And I'm gonna take a look real quick just to see. Yeah, he hasn't appeared in any professional games yet up to this point. So this is, and I'm sure you were looking at Fangraphs too and saw that Fangraphs has him projected to be there. This is like a Garrett Crockett situation, how we talked about yesterday. He was drafted last year. He didn't pitch, but I'm guessing the team sees that he is capable of being major league ready this year. I do have him in the number 5 spot, and then Cal Quantrill, I've got him in the number 6. And again, I think it's just because the Indians rotation is super young. I don't expect that these guys are going to be most of these guys are going to be fully ready for like a full 162 game season. And Tito is really smart about managing his pitchers. He's always been very good at that, even with his time in Boston. He knows how to manage his guys' arms, it feels like. Really, it feels like the Indians have had some of the more solid rotations over the years as far as injuries go. They haven't dealt with too many. I know Carrasco had some injury problems while he was out there, and Danny Salazar kind of fell off. But for the most part, I think it's because the Indians know how to manage their pitching staff, and I don't expect anything different here. I think Tito is gonna do a good job with these guys and maybe limit their innings a little bit, but like make sure they're getting the work that they need. They also have Adam Plutko, who is capable of making some starts here and there too. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what the Indians do with the rotation, because I think Shane Bieber and Zach Plesac are at least locked in. And then from there, you can kind of flip flop and you can throw guys in and out and like get them starts, give them a little extra rest, give them some more starts. And I do think they have a bright future with the pitching staff. If the youngsters really come out and perform this year, I think that's what's going to really help the team. It's just going to help them as a whole stay at least within competition, if that makes sense.
Yeah, figures to be like you touched on, a very young but a high potential rotation. Plesac, McKenzie, Savali, Allen, and even Quantrill. They're all guys who have been top prospects for the past couple seasons, and they all figure to make at least some sort of impact. I like you mentioned. I'm not sure what their plan is with Logan Allen. Um, I thought he was more experienced in the minor leagues than he was when I looked at him on Fangraphs. Because typically you don't see a guy go straight from college to major leagues. So
Exactly.
that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and it was just like I was saying, it's a Garrett Crockett situation again.
Yeah, it is.
They must really be high on him. I don't pay attention to college baseball too much, so I'm
I
not sure.
don't. Yeah,
I'm not really
don't
sure
either.
how he did. I just know he was drafted last year, and now they're like, oh, he's probably going to throw 100 innings this year in the majors. We'll see.
That'd certainly be a plus if they can get
Yeah,
100 innings and like a sub 4 ERA. That would be top notch.
absolutely.
How do you have your bullpen set up? I'm kind of interested to see this.
Yeah, so their bullpen's interesting too because there's not really any veterans, so say.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do as far as closing goes. I didn't. The only guy I remotely saw who could turn out to be a closer is Heath Hembree,
Mm-hmm.
and they signed him from the Red Sox. So
Yep.
right now I've got James Karinchak. I don't know how to pronounce that. I've got him in the bullpen. Nick Whitgren, which MLB recently did a story on him and his wife. His wife is like his personal trainer too. Um,
Okay.
that's actually a pretty neat story. We'll share that on our social media pages. Phil
Mm-hmm.
Matten, they got him from the Padres not too long ago. I
Yep.
also have him in the bullpen. Emmanuel Clase, Kyle Nelson, Adam Plutko. It kind of looks like they're seeing him more as a bullpen piece this year. Heath Hembree, and then they have a familiar face as a non-roster invitee, Brian Shaw. Shaw was
Okay.
kind of part of those successful runs that the Indians had from 2013 to 2016. He had a very forgettable tenure with the Rockies. Very, very forgettable. So he's kind of like a Wade
Yeah.
Davis situation there. Not roster invitee, but I think he has a chance to make the team considering how young the bullpen is right now too. Um, if he has a good spring, I think he'll easily be in that bullpen, maybe even be their closer. Because, like I said, I don't know what they're going to do with the closing situation. I'm sure. Um, I know another thing with Tito when Cody Allen was on the team, Allen was their closer, but it was not uncommon to see
Mm-hmm.
him not pitch the ninth inning too. So this
Yeah.
could be an all hands on deck situation where they might go closer by committee to start and then just see whoever performs the best in that role and then stick with them as the year goes on, which I'm not against at all. I'm actually perfectly fine with that because I think bullpen arms
Yeah.
should know how to pitch in any situation.
Exactly. Yep. Agreed. Someone I would like to see gain that closer's role, are two guys you touched on, either Whitgren or Emmanuel Clase. I would love to see. Clase is. I think he's like 23 or 24 still. I know he just recently had, I believe it was Tommy John. I know he missed, I think, most of 2019 and most of 2020. But the dude throws like 100 mile per hour cutter, and he just will mow guys down. I know that kind of the um, Aroldis Chapman effect of throwing hard and throwing fast isn't quite as dominant for hitters as it once was. But not only can he throw that thing 100 miles per hour, but he can actually throw it pretty accurately too. So I think he's someone to look out for. I wouldn't be surprised if Emmanuel's a guy who, by the end of the season, hopefully has that closer's job nailed down. Now it is possible that he doesn't, but
Yeah.
he's probably the guy I'm rooting for that.
Yeah, he debuted with Texas in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you're right. He only played in 21 games, so there's probably an injury there of some kind.
Yeah,
But
I knew there was. I can't remember what it was though.
yeah, he'll be 23 in March. That's an interesting pick. And to be honest, I'm not really familiar with any of these guys. So that's an interesting pick. I could easily maybe see that happening. And then you said Who was the other guy that you
Nick
mentioned?
Whitgren.
Nick Whitgren. Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be an interesting pick as well. I think he was also in the Red Sox system, if I'm not mistaken.
I
Trying to
want
remember.
to say at one point in time he was in the Yankee system as well.
He might have been too. I think he's moved
Yeah,
around a little bit
he has.
over the
Yeah.
years. If I remember correctly, actually, Whitgren was with the Marlins at one time too.
Yep.
And the first time, this was before the opener became popular. Whitgren
Hmm.
actually was used as an opener one game. And I remember this specifically because a couple days before, I was telling my grandpa how I wouldn't be surprised if we started seeing some bullpen arms open games up and then let the starters
Hmm.
come in. And sure enough, a couple days later, it happened with Nick Whitgren. And then the Rays adopted the system. So,
Yep.
um, yeah, I think I was thinking like the name really sounded familiar. I feel like I haven't seen him around too much, but looks like he's going to have a solid spot in that Indians bullpen, maybe even get the closer's role. Um, I guess
Yeah. Yep.
Phil Madden's another guy I could see getting that closer spot too. But again, I think
Yep.
it's closer by committee to start, and then they're just
Oh
going
yeah. Oh yeah.
to who performs the
Hot
best.
hand. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Yeah, we'll go ahead and look at some of their prospects. Two guys I really want to touch on: Nolan Jones and Bo Naylor. Two big, super good hitters that they have in their minor league system. Nolan Jones, I believe, is their number one prospect
Yes,
as of
sir.
right now. Um, he's a guy who he's a third baseman. Looking at him, he's got a lot of Nolan Arenado comps. I know that's a big, a big comparison, but he can hit for power. He's got a little bit of speed. Nothing that's going to blow your doors off. He can hit for a high average, driving a bunch of runs. Really good with the glove over there at third. So he's definitely a guy I want to look at. Keep your eye on. Probably not ready for major league action quite yet, but here very very soon he should be. Bo Naylor, who I forgive me if I'm wrong, but is he not some sort of relative to Josh Naylor?
He could possibly
Bo and
be.
Josh. I feel
I'm
like
not
Naylor's not a common last name.
No, but I'm not seeing anything either as far as him having relations to Josh.
Okay.
Josh is from Canada. I do know that much, so I guess it would
Mm.
help to know if Bo is also from Canada. That might say something. Let's see here. According to the internet, he's from Mississauga, so there's a really good chance that he probably is related to Josh.
Hmm.
Um, Whoa. Okay, since he's from Canada, I can't get that right now, but I'm gonna assume that
Okay.
yes, he is the brother of Josh.
Cool. So there you go. There's some behind the scenes action for you guys. But yeah, like I was saying, Bo Naylor figures to be kind of should be a good future guy for the Indians, or whatever they decide to name their team by the time he makes his debut. Um, but Naylor's as I mentioned about Nolan Jones, Naylor does have quite a bit of power. Um, not crazy with the speed. Looking at Naylor's history, I think the bat still needs to kind of develop a little bit more. He definitely needs more minor league time, whether it be Double A or Triple A. I'm not entirely sure, but I think he should see action at both affiliates this season, to say the very least. And then I already kind of talked about the third guy. I wanted to talk about Emmanuel Clase. Is a lefty. He can just throw absolute darts. Like I've seen his cutter. His cutter, like the movement on it is insane. And he should be a guy that absolutely it should be a lock to make the major league roster. And like I said, I hope by the end of the season he's at least one of the hot hands leading the closer job.
Yeah, so I guess the three prospects I want to cover, and we did touch briefly on this guy when we were doing our lineup projections. Daniel Johnson.
Hmm.
Um, He didn't have the best stint last year. He was 1 for 12 in 5 games last year, which I know that's not saying a lot, especially when you look at his minor league numbers. He's a 284 lifetime hitter. Um,
Hmm.
he actually can provide some pop. He hit 22 home runs across 2 levels in 2017, and then he hit 19 across 2 levels in 2019. I think he's the number 18 guy right now, or the number 18 prospect, and we did say how he probably will be up on the team sooner than later. Maybe not in a starting role necessarily, but maybe to start the bench. So I think this is a guy the Indians fans should be on the lookout for. He is a little bit on the older side for prospects. He's 25 years old, but I don't think that's going to be a big issue at all, especially if he makes the opening day roster. It's only a matter of time before he gets his starts. A second guy I want to take a look at is Bobby Bradley. And Bradley is their number 14 prospect right now. He hasn't really performed like they thought he would so far. He played in 15 games in 2019, hit 1 homer. But across his minor league career, even his minor league numbers aren't necessarily the greatest. But I think that Bradley is in a position where, because the Indians are in a rebuild kind of situation, Bradley should get his time to start games throughout the year. I do expect him to be on the opening day roster. He's 24 years old right now. He is going to have a lot to prove to the coaching staff as to why he should be in the in the everyday lineup. But I
Hmm.
think if Bradley is getting those opportunities, I think it's going to help him out a lot. There's just some players in general out there, they don't do very well when they're not getting consistent playing time, and it makes complete sense. And I think
Yep.
Bradley's in that situation as well. The Indians just need to give him an opportunity to show what he's capable of and let him struggle, but also work on those kinks with him that he needs to work out. I easily expect to see him on the opening day roster. And then my number 3 prospect that I want to take a look at is a guy named Gabriel Arias. He is an
Hmm.
international prospect. He was originally signed by the Padres in 2016. I believe he was in the Franmil Reyes trade a couple years ago that sent Mike Clevenger out to San Diego. But Gabriel Arias is a 270 lifetime hitter in the minor leagues, but in advanced single A in 2019, he hit 302 in 120 games. He's a shortstop. He's not expected to make the team this year, but he is a guy, in my opinion, that should be looked at. He's only 20 years old. He's expected to make the show in 2022. He should be 21, 22 by that point. Um, like I said, he's a shortstop. He's got potential to maybe take over that position as time goes on. He can hit for power too. He hit 17 homers at advanced single A in
Wow.
2019. Yeah, so and shortstop's not really a power position by any
Hmm.
means, but I think this is a guy that Indians fans should be excited for in the near future. He's someone that I've definitely got my eye on. I don't, like I said, I don't expect him to make the team this year, but maybe September call up, if anything, maybe if he's really killing it in the minors and can make it to AAA. But this is a guy that should be part of that part of that future that the Indians are trying to kind of build for again that they had for so long.
What are your predictions for 2021?
Um, it's hard to say they're gonna suck, but
Yeah.
I think considering you've got the White Sox, the Twins, and now the Royals, and now
Yeah.
definitely the Royals, if they weren't really confirmed on
Definitely the
Tuesday,
Royals. Yeah.
now they're in it. I see
Hmm.
a floor as low as 65 games. I see a ceiling as high as 79. I don't think they're going to have a winning season this year. I think it's gonna be the first time since Terry Francona's days in Philadelphia that he's gonna suffer a losing season as a skipper. Which that's another interesting fact. Even his years in Boston and his years in Cleveland, he's
Yeah.
never had a losing season. So, um, unfortunately, I think that this isn't going to be the best year for the Indians, but They do have good coaching staff that can help this young group. I don't think the Indians are tanking by any means. This is just kind of one of those years that they realize everyone else is a little more competitive. They have some of their stars walking in free agency soon. They just can't afford, like, they can't afford to extend some of these guys, unfortunately. Um, so I see 65 to 79 wins being kind of their ratio right now.
Yeah, I'm not too far off. I do think they're going to do better than 65. My floor for them is probably closer to 75, I'd say. I'd probably do a floor of 75 and a ceiling of maybe 85. Like we talked about earlier, they are a super scrappy team. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Royals aren't quite there yet. Maybe they need like one more year to kind of put everything together. I'm not sure what Andrew Benintendi's contract looks like, but I'm going to assume that he'll be on the team next year as well. So I think that next year is a year that the Royals very well could officially overtake the Indians for at least third place in the division. But I think that'll be. I mean, the AL Central just turned into probably the most interesting division in baseball. You've got four teams that realistically have a mathematical chance of coming away with that division, and whatever teams finish second, third, and fourth have a decent chance to compete for the two wild card spots that the AL will have. Yeah, I'd say probably 70. I'll go 70 wins as a floor. And I'll probably go like 82 wins as a ceiling.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that seems pretty appropriate for the Indians. But I think if they do perform very well this year, it just goes to show how good of a coaching staff they have.
Yeah.
That's a really big thing, because we see this a lot with some teams and how on paper they don't really look like they're going to be that great, but then they turn some things around, and call it overachieving if you want, but I think that there is some legitimacy in that, especially if they do it consistently. And considering that the Indians just are loaded, it seems like, with great coaching, I think, again, you can't rule them out. But we'll see. We'll kind of see where it goes. And I think with Nolan Jones, I would expect to see him on the team if Jose Ramirez gets traded.
Yep.
It just kind of feels like that's going to be the case. It's when he's ready to take third, we'll probably either Ramirez will move over to shorter second, or he's going to be traded very quickly. But I like what the Indians have as far as the future goes. And like I said, they've always been a competitive team. It feels like, even they've had some down years here and there, but for the most part, they seem to always be in it to some degree. And I don't think it's going to be much different this year. I just think their competitive window is a lot smaller than in previous years.
Yeah, kind of a bold prediction. I expect to see Jose Ramirez traded either on or the day before the trade deadline. I don't see him finishing the year out. I do think that I feel like the off season is close enough to being over that they'll probably just hold on to him to start the year, give the fans a reason to come out to the ballpark for a couple months, and then they'll move him. I think what if you look at the kind of guys they got in the Lindor Carrasco trade, I think they are going to try to. I mean, even if you look at the guys that they've got in the Mike Clevenger trade, this is a team that's looking to acquire either MLB ready prospects or close to MLB ready prospects, and I think that whoever they do end up trading with, whether it be San Diego looking for a third baseman, whether it be a team in the NL Central, maybe I'm not sure, but someone's going to be looking for a third baseman. I think, like I mentioned, I don't see the Indians trying. I don't see the Indians trading him to an AL team, especially an AL Central team. I think that's absolutely out the window. I think they're going to look to move him out of the AL entirely, so they don't have to face him once their competitive window kind of opens back up. So Yeah, like I said, I see him getting traded to an NL team, an NL competitor, to be specific, the day on or the day before the deadline, and I look for MLB ready prospects to kind of be most of the return package they get for him.
Yeah, I'm curious to see kind of who makes a splash for
Mm-hmm.
Ramirez. I was just kind of thinking in my head where he might be a good fit right now, and I
Yeah,
think you're right. Right now, the Indians are really the only team he's a good fit with. Other teams just need to. Everyone else just needs to see where they are. Um, I think, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see kind of what they do with him. It'll be interesting to see if they even trade him. They may not.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's highly possible too. Although I think that's a little less likely to happen. But
Well, a lot of people thought that Francisco Lindor was going to get traded at the trade deadline last season.
right,
And I think he came close to being traded, the year before, near the trade deadline as well. Maybe the Brewers could be a good fit for him. I know the Brewers, without seeing their third base depth chart right in front of me, or kind of their infield general, um, could be a good fit for a team like Milwaukee trying to climb back up to where the Dodgers and the Braves upper echelon kind of lies, and especially being that the Cardinals just went out and got another superstar infielder.
yeah,
Maybe the Brewers feel like it, if they want to continue to try to compete, maybe they feel like it's time to go out there and make a big splash as well.
yeah, that's very true. I think it's going to depend on if teams are willing to give up prospects though,
Oh yeah,
because the
that's
Indians
gonna be.
they're trying to get MLB
Yep,
close ready guys right
yep.
now, in just about every trade they're doing. So that's going to be another factor too.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a king's ransom for him. But so yeah, there you go. There's the Indians in the books. Um, kind of ending of an era, passing of a torch, if you will. Indians fans will always reminisce about what could have been, in a lot of their postseason runs, whether it was getting axed by the Cubs in 2016, or whether it was getting axed by the Yankees in 2017, 2020. Um, a lot to look forward to. Whether it might be a couple years in the future that you got to look forward to, but you do have a bright future ahead of you guys. You're getting younger, a lot of team control, and now you don't have to worry about wondering if Francisco Lindor is going to be on the team every day when you wake up. So at
Yeah,
least there's a plus out of that.
yeah.
I'm
I
sure
hope
that
the
I'm sure that weighed in on a lot of people.
I hope the World Series drought is over sooner than
Oh yeah,
later. What has it been
sooner
now?
than later.
70,
Yep.
73 years, or we're coming on year 73. 1948 was the
Sometime
last
in the
time they won.
40s. Yep.
Yeah, I will say this for Indians fans, I was very sad that you guys had to face the Cubs in the World Series
I
that year.
know. I know.
That was the one matchup I didn't want, and sure enough, it happened. But
Yeah.
you know, hopefully sooner than later, the drought's over, and you guys will be able to celebrate and get that long-awaited parade.
Hmm.
Um, I think it does help at least that the Cavaliers got an NBA title not too long ago.
Yeah.
So you're not
Yep.
the city, no, so say isn't hungry, but the Indians still have the longest drought in baseball, so want to
Hmm.
hopefully get that over with. And also, since the last year of the Indians franchise, we're going to post a poll on our social
Yep.
media pages about team names. We got three that we've come up with, and then there'll be a random option or another option. So be sure to give your opinions on that and tell us what you think, because we want to hear your guys' thoughts on this, especially because we don't really know. We got ideas, but we don't know as
Yeah.
far.
I gave it a good hard thinking yesterday. I even did some googling. I don't know what they're gonna come up with.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Um, yeah, but a quick note. I did change our Instagram, kind of our at Instagram. It is now officially at Real Dugout Talk. There is an Angels dedicated page on Instagram. I think it's just on Instagram, and it's Dugout _ talk.
Okay.
So I didn't want ours to be literally like the same two words. So I tossed real at real dugout talk on that as well.
Is it all lowercase?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Fantastic. Cool. Again, social media. We appreciate all of you guys who are following us right now. And have been paying attention to us and just listening to us dudes talk and ramble for 45 minutes to an hour every day on just baseball. Our YouTube channel is Dugout Talk. The Instagram page is at Real Dugout Talk. Facebook page is Dugout Talk. The username is at Real Dugout Talk as well. You can just type that in the search bar and it'll pop up. And then our Twitter handle is at Dugout Talk 1.
Yeah. If you guys rush over to Instagram, you can see Steven's power lunch that he had on Tuesday. That was our like our debut post. And I tell you what, it makes me hungry for a meat and cheese tray. I could go for one of those right about now. Yeah, always.
I've been craving meat and cheese trays for some reason. I don't know what it is. I
know.
I have like once a year where I just crave them like every week, and I'm like, man, I just want a meat and cheese tray right now. And then I go the rest of the year and I don't crave it. So,
and the thing is, like, it's cheaper to go and just buy like a ring of bologna or like a ring of salami or something like that, and some cheese and cut it up that way, rather than like paying like $12-13 for, you know, a little meat and cheese tray that you can get at like Walmart. So
exactly, that's how you do it. You just got to buy your own supplies and do it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can buy like what one tray costs. You can buy all the ingredients for the same price as one tray. So remember and that you get whole life tidbit.
Yep. You can get Ritz crackers for like, I don't know, $2. You can get a pound of salami maybe for about $6. I mean, depending on where you live. $6, a pound of cheese might cost you $5, and then there you go. That's like $11, and you may pay $15 for, you know, enough crackers to feed like 4 people.
Yeah, exactly. It's not hard at all. It's nice.
Smarter, not harder.
Yep.
But yeah, there you go. Another episode of Dugout Talk in the books. My new camera is going to be here today, later this afternoon. So tomorrow, I hope that this is a nice little plug and play cam, nice little plug and play webcam. I can just plug it in. It'll be right up here on top of my monitor. You guys will have a whole new backdrop of me. So I'm looking forward to it.
Very nice. That is very exciting stuff.
Yeah.
We'll be covering the Minnesota Twins tomorrow to wrap up the AL Central. We are halfway through these. It is hard to believe that we're already at this point, but we thank you all for being with us this far and hope you continue to take this journey with us as we wrap up. Twins should be a fun one tomorrow too. We'll give our our standing predictions as well, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Have yourselves a great day, and look forward to seeing you guys back here tomorrow.
See you guys.